Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. I have 4 MLB player props to go ahead and share with you guys in today's MLB slate. But first, guys, before we dive into today's picks, a quick little recap of how we did last night. And honestly, it was another solid performance. Not a massively successful night, but a successful night nonetheless. Now, we originally did have 5 player props to go ahead and tail. Unfortunately, the Cardinals-Reds game got postponed. So Gavin Lux, Jordan Walker, both those bets get voided. So out of the 3 player props we did have, though, we did cash 2 out of 3. Ryan Mountcastle and Kyle Gibson cash with flying colors. And then Shea Langeliers, unfortunately, did cash the over. So 2-1 last night. Again, little by little, we're scraping away at that deficit. 34 and 37 on the year now, minus 6.34 units. Again, we still got some work to do to get back to breaking even and even get into the profit zone, but we're getting there little by little. And today we got some new opportunities to go ahead and chip away at the deficit. 4 player props coming your way right now. All right, guys, jumping right into the outlier screen. Our first player prop in today's slate comes from the Yankees-Orioles game, 6:35 p.m. first pitch. We got Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees over 1.5 total bases. We are grabbing this for minus 118 over on BetMGM. It is available on multiple sports books for varying odds. For me personally, BetMGM works. It may not work for you if you don't have it, so there's a lot of options there to go ahead and tail this Aaron Judge bet. And I mean, it's Aaron Judge. He's one of the best players in Major League Baseball. The data has been really solid. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.9 total bases per game over his last 10 games. Stretch the data out a little bit further. The last 20 games, 75% hit rate, averaging 2.45 total bases per game over his last 20 games. Even looking at the entire season view, 20 out of 30 games this year has cashed the over. That's a 67% hit rate, averaging 2.77 total bases per game this year. So some really good numbers so far when looking at this Aaron Judge prop. And from a head-to-head perspective, 8 of his last 14 matchups with the Baltimore Orioles, he's cashed the over. That's a 57% hit rate, averaging 2.64 total bases per game across those last 14 matchups with Baltimore. However, if you take a look at this data and you narrow it down, he's really cashed this over in 8 of his last 9 matchups against Baltimore. He missed those first 5, right? That's 5 straight misses. 8 of his last 9. The only time he's missed in the last 9 matchups back on July 14th against Baltimore. They played 2 times so far this year, April 28th, April 29th. Obviously, this current series that they are in, he's cashed the over in both games of this series thus far. And looking down below at the key matchup stats, we don't have a ton of data to go off of for Cade Popovich. However, we do know that he has a 5.04 ERA, and his numbers just haven't been great this year. And Aaron Judge, small sample size, 3 plate appearances against him since 2018. He did hit a home run off of him, though. So obviously really good numbers there for Judge. And this year, I mean, look at Aaron Judge, 405 batting average. His numbers are already really good, but versus left-handed pitchers, although it is a definitely smaller sample size, 476 batting average, 667 ISO, 60% extra base hit percentage. Really, really great numbers here. And your matchup with Cade Popovich, a player that he's hit off of once before, a home run off of, I should say. Again, it sucks we don't have more information, more insight into Cade Popovich, or Cade, I keep saying Popovich, Cade Povich. But I do think it's a really solid mark here for Aaron Judge, and the insight also provided by Outlier. By the way, guys, shout out to Outlier, the sponsor of today's video. Link down below in the description, 7-day free trial if you want to go ahead and check Outlier out for yourself. All the information you're going to see in today's video and all of my player prop videos, they are brought to you by Outlier. So if you want access to all this stuff, there's thousands of more player props available. You can go ahead and check that out when you use link down below in the description, 7-day free trial. The insight provided by Outlier, Aaron Judge has exceeded 1.5 bases in 7 of his last 8 games, averaging 3.1 bases per game over his last 8 games. All right, guys, our second player prop in today's slate. We're running back one of those 2 player props we couldn't get yesterday because the game got postponed. We're going Gavin Lux of the Cincinnati Reds in the Cardinals-Reds game, 12:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Gavin Lux over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, minus 160. Now, my rule normally for single bets is cap it off at minus 150. I don't go higher than minus 150 because we did have this yesterday and the line has now jumped into today. I will take it at minus 160. It's one of the very few times I'll take a single bet higher than minus 150 odds. But I'll make an exception today because I did like this player prop yesterday, and honestly, the matchup is still the same, and he has an extra day rest now. I like this over a lot for Gavin Lux. Because I talked about it yesterday, I will go through it real quick again. All the numbers are exactly the same as they were yesterday, but just in case you guys didn't watch yesterday's video, I will run through the numbers very quickly here. 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 3.4 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10 games. Overall this year, a 56% hit rate on the over. 15 out of 27 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.19 hits, runs, RBIs per game this season. And as you can see, he had a little bit of a slow start to the year, but over the last 10 games, he has gotten really hot for the Reds, and it's very good here for us in this player prop. And from a head-to-head perspective, 4 of his last 7 matchups with the St. Louis Cardinals, he's cashed the over. It's a 57% hit rate in the head-to-head department, averaging 2.14 hits, runs, RBIs per game across the last 7 matchups with the St. Louis Cardinals. They have played one time already this year, a couple of days ago, April 28th, and he did have 3 hits, 1 run, and 1 RBI in that game. Looking down below, the insight provided by Outlier, Gavin Lux has exceeded 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 10 of his last 11 games, averaging 3.7 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 11 games. And we got a great matchup here against Miles Mikolas. The data across the board is fantastic. We know Gavin Lux having a really strong year. Versus right-handed pitchers, the numbers get even better. 400 batting average, 179 WRC+. Those are obviously both increases, as you can see from his overall numbers. And looking at the matchup versus the pitcher, Miles Mikolas having a rough year, but versus left-handed batters, it actually does get worse in a couple of key categories. Batting average allowed and WOBA, both nice, steady increases. They've had 5 plate appearances against each other since 2018. Gavin Lux does have 2 hits, a home run, and an RBI over Mikolas. Small sample size, yes, but overall, a really good matchup for Gavin Lux is the reason why I'm willing to look past the minus 160 just for today, because I loved this player prop yesterday, and I still love it today. I'm going to go ahead and tail it again. By the way, guys, we're about to hit the 7-minute mark in today's video, so if you are still watching this point, please comment 7 down below. As always, guys, we appreciate those who watch through each and every single video here on the channel. A lot of hard work goes into these. Of course, we'll pass a little bit of judgment on if you guys just jump to the pinned comment for the picks, but we really do appreciate those who actually listen to the video, watch the analysis, because a lot of hard work goes into these. So thank you very much. And if you are watching, go ahead and comment 7 down below. All right, guys, our third player prop in today's slate. We're moving on to the Diamondbacks-Mets game, 7:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going with the Polar Bear, Pete Alonso, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, minus 120 odds over on DraftKings. And yeah, the data is solid here. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 3 hits, runs, RBIs per game over the last 10 games. So far this year, a 57% hit rate on the over for Pete Alonso. 17 out of 30 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.9 HRRs. I'm going to abbreviate from this point forward instead of having to keep saying hits, runs, RBIs every time. Averaging 2.9 HRRs, hits, runs, RBIs per game overall this season. So pretty good numbers across the board here for Pete Alonso. And from a head-to-head perspective, the data gets even better. 7 of his last 8 matchups with the Arizona Diamondbacks. The majority of those games, of course, coming from last year, although he has played them once already this year. Of course, that matchup was yesterday. But 7 of his last 8 matchups versus Arizona, he's cashed this over. It's an 88% hit rate, averaging 3.13 HRRs per game across the last 8 matchups with Arizona. So overall, really good data. The recent data is solid, and the head-to-head data is phenomenal. And again, last night, 2 hits, 2 runs, and an RBI in his first game against Arizona this season. We look down below. The insights provided by Outlier. Pete Alonso has exceeded 1.5 HRRs in 5 of his last 6 games at home, averaging 3.3 HRRs per game across the last 6 home games. You now see why I need to abbreviate, because we're going to say that term, hits, runs, RBIs, so much all video long. And we got a really good matchup here. Pete Alonso versus Corbin Burnes. Pretty solid history. 16 plate appearances since 2018. A 400 batting average. He has 6 hits, 3 home runs. That's the key thing here. He has definitely taken Corbin Burnes' yard a number of times. 7 RBIs. Really good head-to-head data there. Now, Pete Alonso's having a really solid year. However, versus right-handed pitchers, you do see his numbers slightly decrease. At the decrease line, though, still really good numbers. The batting average still 329. Nothing to scoff at. And his WRC plus 192.8. Again, they're not as impressive. He's definitely better versus left-handed pitchers than right-handed pitchers. But the overall data is still very solid here for Pete Alonso. So that's why I like this matchup a lot. And then Corbin Burnes as well. Not exactly the best numbers. Specifically when you narrow it down versus right-handed batters here. 6.39 ERA, 2.77 batting average allowed, 2.1 home runs per 9. 362 WOBA. Oh, those are all increases. All those categories, all 4 of those categories, increases in comparison to his overall numbers. Smaller sample size, yes, but all the numbers do increase in a decent amount. Like ERA, massive jump. Batting average allowed, massive jump. Home runs per 9, really heavy jump. WOBA is a minor jump, but a jump nonetheless. So across the board, seems like a really good matchup here for Pete Alonso against Corbin Burnes. And if all that didn't convince you guys, the Pete Alonso's number versus Corbin Burnes' pitch arsenal, Corbin Burnes loves the cutter. 53.9% of his pitches this year have been cutters. Look at that. Pete Alonso, 500 WOBA, 11.1% strikeout rate versus cutters. Actually, better numbers in comparison to his overall numbers. So his most utilized pitch, Pete Alonso having a lot of success. 500 WOBA is elite. So really good matchup across the board here for Pete Alonso. All right, guys, in our 4th and final player prop in today's slate, we're moving on to the Athletics-Rangers game. 8:05 p.m. first pitch. We're going J.J. Bleday of the Athletics under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. We're getting that for -140. Over on BetMGM. Again, it's available on multiple sports books for varying odds. And again, like all these player props today, the data is solid across the board. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under here, averaging 1.1 HRRs per game over his last 10 games. Go ahead and stretch the data out to the entire season view. A 62% hit rate on the under this year for Bleday. 18 out of 29 games, he's cashed the under, averaging 1.66 HRRs per game this year. A couple big games there that skew the average up a little bit, but overall, the unders cashed a heavy amount this year. And from a head-to-head perspective, where we have a lot of data to go off of, 11 of his last 18 matchups with the Rangers, he's cashed the under. That's a 61% hit rate, averaging 1.56 HRRs per game across the last 18 matchups with Texas. And if you really go ahead and take this little 5-game stretch here last May, where May into that one matchup in August, that little 5-game stretch, take that out of the equation. The rest of these, mostly unders. And this year so far, they played 5 times. He's cashed the under in 4 out of 5 games, including 4 straight games. The first game on April 22nd, he did have 2 hits and 1 RBI. Since then, 4 straight games, including both games of this current series thus far, he's cashed the under. So really good head-to-head data there. The insights provided by Outlier. J.J. Bleday has failed to exceed 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 4 of his last 5 games on the road, averaging 0.8 HRRs per game over the last 5 road games. Bleday versus Nathan Eovaldi, 9 plate appearances since 2018, a 111 batting average, just 1 hit off of him in 9 plate appearances against Eovaldi. So pretty good head-to-head data there. Bleday only batting .214 this year, not very good, but versus right-handed pitchers with a decent sample size, it gets even worse. 148 batting average, 41.9 WRC plus, so significant decreases when facing off with right-handed pitchers like Eovaldi. Now, the one thing you don't love in this is the fact that Eovaldi's numbers increase versus left-handed batters. His numbers overall very good this year. The reason why I'm not too concerned is that even at the increased values, they're still actually pretty good numbers. 213 batting average allowed is pretty good. 326 ERA is not bad. He's less successful against left-handed batters for sure, but even at the less successful lines, still really good data. So I think across the board, you got a really good matchup here. For -140, a little high from an odds standpoint, but I still think plenty of value on taking this player prop. That's our 4th and final player prop in today's video. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We'll be back tomorrow with another MLB Player Prop video, but until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Wednesday. Have a happy hump day. Let's go ahead, middle of the week. Let's keep going strong here. A decent start to the week with 2 profitable days. Little profit, not a ton, but still profit nonetheless. We're not losing money, which is the important thing here. Let's keep the good times rolling and keep building that momentum. But guys, hope you're all winners. Until tomorrow, let's go ahead and win some money.